So we're in the Flying Buffalo booth here with Rick Loomis, and we recently on our audio program did a sort of retrospective on the flip book game phenomenon. And Ace of Aces was the one that sort of started the whole genre, I think. Alfred Leonardi is the designer, and you have recently run a Kickstarter program to bring Ace of Aces back into print so that more people can enjoy this whole flip book idea. So I think maybe first explain to people the whole idea behind the flip book games, and you can do that in the context of Ace of Aces, and then maybe we can talk about some of the other flip book games that you have to offer too.
Well, Ace of Aces is a duel between two pilots in World War I, flying top with Camel and the Fokker airplanes. Each player has a book with about 200 pictures of the plane in various poses, and you pick your move and your opponent picks his move, and the book tells you what page to turn to, and you get to see the results. So it's a complete combat duel that is all no dice, no map, just two books, and it is so beautiful. It's like a computer game, but there's no computer.
Yes, it's like a paper version of a computer game in many ways. And it's so elegant. I think that's the best word for it, that it seems impossible that it can work. The little matrix and the cross-referencing of the numbers and the visual element of you turn to the page and you actually see the result of your move. You see where you are in relationship to the other plane. He might be coming right at you, or you might be right on his tail.
I think Alfred is a genius for figuring this whole thing out. It's
totally
very complicated.
Now, the Ace of Aces, tell people about the new version that's going to be available.
Okay, Ace of Aces, Alfred came out with several different kinds of planes and several different books 30 years ago, and he has since gone out of the game business and retired from it, and the books have been out of print for, I don't know, 20 years. And I've always felt like this is something that definitely needed to be available again. So I recently did a Kickstarter program to get the books back in print, and we're going to do the Handy Rotary series, which our Kickstarter was successful, and we're going to have those printed up next month.
And these are really deluxe versions of the books.
Because you'll be turning the pages a lot, I didn't want to just glue the pages in or staple them in. We're going to have them sewn in, which is a fancier, more sturdy way to do the binding of the books.
Now, and it's going to have a sort of faux binding. The binding makes it almost like a hardcover book, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, it's kind of a faux leather,
a
leatherette kind of cover.
Now, I know they're available to the people who helped you on Kickstarter. Are there going to be other copies of the game for sale?
I arranged Kickstarter to have enough money to print 1,000 sets. And it'll take me about 500 or 600 to fulfill all the requirements on Kickstarter, so I will have some to sell.
Excellent.
I'm not sure how long they'll last, depending on how really popular it becomes.
I think there's really a thirst for it, and kind of continuing along that line, Ace of Aces was the one that kind of spurred on this genre. There are some combat-oriented games, but they're not mechanical. It's actually mano a mano. It's actually sort of medieval fantasy combat, the Lost World series.
Yes, Alfred then came out with the Lost Worlds books, and he really play-tested them with people from the Society for Creative Anachronism. And so it actually is a, what's the word I'm looking for, a simulation of hand-to-hand, mano-a-mano, sword-to-sword combat with sword fights, quarterstaffs, axes, whatever. And it really simulates the real combat, but it works the same way. I make a decision, you make a decision, and the book tells you what page to turn to, and you see a picture of the other guy doing what he did.
And over the years, there have been just an explosion of different little mini books representing the different warriors that can actually battle each other.
Yes, we have about 70 different books, and each one is a little bit different. So if you fight the woman with quarterstaff against the man with a sword and dagger, that's one kind of battle, but if you change it and fight the woman with a quarterstaff against the skeleton with a sword and shield, that's a totally different battle.
Your
because
tactics are going to change.
Tactics are going to change. He fights different than the other guy does.
You've also done, now is this something you're still doing? I know at one time you could actually make your own combat book.
Yeah, that didn't turn out to be as popular, probably with the technology that we had in the past. We may want to reintroduce that.
Okay, I always thought that was a fun idea, that you could actually make yourself into one of these little flip book Lost World things. That's such a creative way to expand the number of of people that you could reach.
I think when we did that before, it was too expensive.
Yes,
But
yeah.
we're going to reintroduce that more price conscious wise.
So before we leave you here, are there any other news items or items of note, new releases or things you want to tell us about it?
Well, I do want to say that the Ace of Aces series, we're going to do a Kickstarter for each of the books that were produced in the past.
Oh, excellent.
So until they're all available again.
Great.
And then Alfred has a couple of new ones that he never published, and I'm going to do them.
Great, great. Still airplane themed, or some of those?
Those are airplane themed. He also did some ship, sailing ship themed
Age of
ones.
Sail kind of ones?
Yeah.
Ooh, that sounds fun
And those
too.
never got published. So I'm looking forward to doing those.
Until now.
Until now, yes.
Well, thank you so much for your time. It's great, and it's great to see you almost single-handedly responsible for keeping this genre of game alive and kicking in the marketplace today.
Well, thank you.
As an Israelite.